Testing, testing. Okay, wonderful. We are going live. If anyone is uh want to share this, and you know people who maybe wanted to be here but were unable to come.
Testing, testing. Okay, wonderful.
Anyone you can let them know that they can view this on the City Council YouTube page. The City Council YouTube page. Both of these meetings will be streamed via the City Council YouTube page. We also have interpreters here at our meetings as well. The building is also handicap accessible for those who may have disabilities. So we've made this inclusive for all of our public to have a great experience. First of all, I want to say good evening to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here at the reassessment #1, the first reassessment public hearing brought to you by myself, Councilmember Lupien, Councilmember Martin, and Councilmember Smith. Give it up for these council members who are amazing. And I also thank our clerk's office and their staff and our vice chief of staff and everyone who's been helping to work this. We have an extremely busy week this week, City Council does. We have budget hearings that are also start tomorrow from 9 to 4. Those budget hearings are also open to the public, are also going to be streamed on the City Council YouTube page as well. Just for the sake of protocol, we have invited all 9 City Council members, and to include the mayor and his administration, were personally invited to these sessions as well. I'm going to set the stage very quickly because we're here to hear from you. Is that we're asking, like any other public hearing, most of our public hearings that we have in these chambers typically do not get more than 1 or 2 speakers. Most of our public hearings are public hearings that are related to legislation that we're doing. It is very rare that City Council calls public hearings for things that other than legislation that we're reviewing. So this is a great moment in time for the Rochester City Council that we're calling a public hearing that's not unrelated, or it is kind of related to our budget, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying it's not something that we typically are, through legislation, have to have a public hearing on. This is something that we've intentionally done, and I want to be very, 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 very clear on what our intent is. Our intent is to fix what we've seen as a flawed, broken system for reassessments, and that is our intent. So I want to take this opportunity to say you're going to have about 5 minutes to tell your story. I'm asking, please, sir, please, ma'am, if you would just please consider the other people that want to speak. Consider your language. Be respectful. Give the same respect that you would want to have. We'll have a very brief moment of silence that is traditional for this body. And then we'll go directly into it. We don't have, I think we have a list that people call to sign up, and there is a list, but there's no particular order. So what we'll do is we'll go from your left, right, from my right to left. We'll start on the first row, and we'll just go down and we'll weave our way down through the room and give everyone 5 minutes. Does that sound? People are able to sign up, but you didn't have to sign up. So we appreciate the ones who did, and we hope that you will sign up so we can at least capture your information. Typically in these public hearings, we typically hear from people that live in the city first, but that's not what we're going to do here. We're just going to do an order of the first row up down to the back, if that's okay. And again, this is about your lived experience when it comes to reassessment. We would ask that you would please, sir, please, ma'am, keep your comments to the reassessment. And we're not here to answer any questions. We're not here to give any input. We're here to listen. And we've already given 11 recommendations that we've given to the public, and we'll at some point we'll expound on those. But I'll pause for a second to yield to any of my colleagues if they have any comments that they will want to give before we get started. Thank you. All right, let's begin. I will start with from my right, from the first row, and move to the left. So, yes, ma'am.
Please state your name for the record. Process. My concern is that this process, there's been a lot of lacking in this rollout of this assessment. There was no information given to people ahead of time and something that was going to be affecting them so greatly. One of the other concerns I had was that there was not enough informal ways for people to challenge their assessment. They ran out of the appointments, and the concern I have with that is that we're able to get through the process. Some of them were not very happy with the outcome, but at least they had a chance to state their case. But because it was such an outcry from the public, there was not enough appointments, there were people that were unable to get their informal and to go right to the formal. And the problem with that, from what I saw of the paperwork, it was very, very hard thing for a lot of people to do, not computer savvy. If they didn't know how to do this, a lot of them were struggling, and if they really did not know where to what they needed. So I think a lot of people gave up and just didn't do it. Another thing that bothered me was that we did have first met with at these informational meetings. We did have the assessor join us, and when he was given some hard questions, all of a sudden he disappeared. He wasn't at the meetings anymore. Bothered me because I felt he should have been part of this whole process. And one of the questions that I personally asked him was that if the property values go down in a certain neighborhood and you've already assessed a property at a certain amount of money, can that be reduced? They're saying you're using market value. If the market value on the neighborhood, why wouldn't those assessments go down? And he said that that's not the case. If you have an assessment and you feel it's not right, the only way someone come in and go inside your home and look over your home, and it's a very intrusive. If they can look at a neighborhood or look at figures and facts and decide, okay, your home's worth a certain amount, why can't they do that if the values in the neighborhood go down or property? So I felt this was very unfair. Things that I felt was really a big problem for seniors. There are a lot of seniors are affected by this because a lot of the seniors are not computer savvy. They don't know how to get on a computer, how to do the paperwork. They need help to understand some help with understanding what this is all about. So I feel this is something that's going to really hurt seniors. And also exemption issues. There are a lot of times that people do not qualify for the exemption. Every time when someone said, well, taxes are going to go up and it's going to affect people, they kept saying, oh, get the exemptions going. Well, a lot of people don't qualify for them, or they might not know how to do that. So that was one thing about we're being told that taxes are going to go down for people. Well, I feel that's not going to be in every case. If there's some taxes are going to go up. If the amount that the assessments are going, I can't see how it's not going to affect many people that have the taxes to go up. I feel this was not a very transparent, process for people. A lot of people didn't know about what was happening with the assessment. And it just is something that I think that people need to have more information on, more education, and more help to get through this process. I feel that this is going to cause people losing their homes if they can't afford their taxes, and it's going to affect people in low income and people within seniors. And I just feel that, there should be more transparency to help the people that are going to be separated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
And just because I forgot, we were going to have a moment of silence. So while you come, just let's center ourselves real quickly. Thank you. A moment of silence. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Shaw. My name is Kevin McMillan. And I don't think it's been a fair assessment at all. Flawed in many ways. There wasn't enough appointments, not enough employees to man the appointments. And not accessible to people that are not IT savvy. And now most of them are senior citizens. And then $10,000 for new educated city. That tells me they want to move out the low income people and bring in more affluent, money making people. Well, you just can't throw people out. It's just not right. First of all, second of all, take that $10,000 and put it to the seniors that are struggling. It'd be much better than something like that. And then another thing, we want to assess it. I'm all for assessing the property in the city, but it should be done on an ongoing basis. Such as, if you want to assess it every 4 years, you assess 25% of it every year. Or if it's 6 years, then you divide that up. Now, you're not hiring anybody in and out. You're hiring somebody permanently that's going to know the city of Rochester and is going to be more respectful to the city of Rochester. And that the mayor has advertised low cost apartments. That to me is telling me that they're trying to get away from people owning houses because they're putting people in apartments. To be independent. Thank you.
Please state your name for the record.
Hi, Dwight Robinson. All right, here we go. You guys might have seen me a couple times here. I own 3 properties in the city, and at first when I got into this assessment battle, it was because I noticed that my property in North Winton Village, it went up only by $60,000, but it was gonna be a $2 change over the year, and that's a beautiful neighborhood, North Winton Village. I have a house in Upper Monroe neighborhood, and it was assessed at $134,000 over the last assessment that was done in 2022, 2 years ago. And the taxes were gonna go up $281, which I can handle. And then I recently bought a house last June and in the Swoberg neighborhood, and it went from 75,000 to 201,000, which made me flip out and say there's something wrong. So I got into this meeting, but then I'm like, I have a unique perspective because I see from 3 different locations and closely in the city, nice neighborhoods, all of them. 3 different results on these reassessments. So I said, let's look deeper into that. I need to see the formula. That was the first thing I said. I said that in December, said it in January, said it in February, said it in March, April, and May, and now I'm still waiting to see it. I just rewatched the mayor's speech from May 7th, and he talked about 60%. People that were valued, their homes were valued at 60% more or lower will get a tax increase. I'm confused the same way he said. The tax increase was gonna happen if their prices went up. The tax increase was gonna happen if their prices went down. And then he said, if it went up 60% or more, your taxes are gonna increase. So how is that equity? He threw out equitable after that when he said 2 different things. That's not equitable. 63% of Rochesterians are renters, and they do not get star exemptions. And neither do their landlords unless they live there, and then they don't get partial live star exemptions. So that means that those 37% of the people that own their homes and live in them are going to get the star exemptions. The landlords, which are not all LLCs, are going to have to pay the full brunt. They're not going to get $18,000 off. They're not going to get $25,000 off. Even if they're seniors, they're not going to get whatever they were saying, like $40,000, $50,000 off. They're going to get the full tax brunt, and they're going to pass it on to their tenants. And the mayor said in his conference, come on, be fair. That doesn't sound like a financial guy's talk, to tell the landlords to come on and be fair. The other council members that didn't show up today, all they said was, we got good news, we got great news, we got good news, and they kept on throwing out great news and good news. But nobody's gonna agree to those increases. We need to see the formulas. And as soon as they found out, they changed. As soon as they found out, they were like, okay, we understand now. And I know Michael Patterson is an educator, and he didn't turn around to educate us. You teach us and explain to me like a 4-year-old if you have to, but get the information out to us, explain to us. And nobody, as soon as they understood, the wall came down, and now they understood, and information is power, right? What power do the citizens of Rochester and the homeowners of Rochester have if nobody's sharing the information that they so clearly see? And now it's okay, and now we can, the tax rate, we can make the tax rate go from 17% to 11% for how long? 1 year? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Those are questions that people want to know, because money does not grow on trees. And we want to make plans to improve our properties and make our houses great. And once again, they increase the value of the house. What good is that if you don't plan on selling your house? I don't plan to sell my house. And these people can only get those inflated prices if they sell their houses somewhere else. And people do not want to move because they bought those houses. It is hard to buy a house. It is not an easy process.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. What I've heard in the news. 7 properties, 5 of them are rentals in my own home. When I first got the letter from the city about the assessments, I called immediately. I had a message. I put down all the property numbers. No one ever got back to me. Then I am a florist. Believe me, I'm short of help, and I'm constantly working, sometimes 15 hours. And I did get everything documented on time for the March deadline. And I received a letter. I'm just busy, and told me then in May, they never called my home, they only called my work. And then in May, it said they were not agreeing with anything that I had written home about. But one of the things, my own home,
has black mold, and it had it in 2008 when I bought the house in the basement. I got $30,000 estimates to remove it. I physically removed some of it. Floor, underneath is, Ergo was all there when I bought the house. This would cost, I don't even know, $40,000 at least to take out everything, cut the drywall, things like that. Assess the house almost double what it's worth. It's not a modern house, built in 32. Most of my properties were built in 20s and 30s. They're not remodeled. They're just old houses. Nothing's changed, and I'm not selling. And it took a lot on a single woman with not an extra income to buy these properties. The rentals are my 401s. They're going to be. The assessments are $60,000 more. I bought one house. That's originally in the 60,000. Buy it for 145, and now it's assessed for 200 and something $1,000. It's ridiculous. It's only a matter of 2 years. So anyway, the point is, when I got this letter about dates that you can call and get a hearing or anything like that. So it's very frustrating, and I think the assessment can just why no one got back to me on the phone is disturbing as well. Thank you.
Good evening, council. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Lightfoot for your efforts in having this hearing. Also, Ms. Lupian, Ms. Smith, and Ms. Martin. And a shout out to Clay Harris, who has done a tremendous amount of work in this community. He is a getting man, and I'd also like to shout out. So I've been involved with this process, trying to get the facts for a while now. On February 9th of this year, I requested a copy of my property appraisal used in the reassessment for my home. I sent a certified letter, return receipt. Zara, the city assessor, no response. 6th of this year, I attended the Get the Facts reassessment resource session. I requested my appraisal. I was told that it doesn't work that way. These sessions advertised that the public would get accurate information and individualized attention on our reassessment estimates. City assessment professionals and licensed appraisers will be on hand at each session who can help. I received no such help, and there were no licensed real estate appraisers at my session. On March 11th of this year, I sent an email to Ms. Minio requesting a copy of my appraisal. No response. On March 13th, I asked Mr. Zazzara, while he was smoking a cigarette at City Hall, for a copy of my appraisal. He was rude, but he told me to FOIL. FOIL, for anyone that doesn't know what that means, FOIL, Freedom of Information Law. And it's a process by which if you want transparency, you have to go through the FOIL process for most things in the city now. So after he told me to FOIL it, I filed a complaint against Zara in his capacity as an appraiser with the New York State Department of Licensing. This board dismissed my complaint, citing New York Business Law 106U Section K. The Board of Licensing has the audacity and the Orwellian arrogance to tell me that Mr. Zazzara is protected from disclosing a document that he created or should have created in assessor and certified appraiser, because as soon as the document gets filed with the city of Rochester, it becomes confidential to parties. If this isn't malfeasance on steroids, I don't know what is. So on April 11th of this year, I submitted a FOIL request for my appraisal on my property. And lo and behold, today at 4:30, as I was preparing this letter, I received my appraisal from the city of Rochester FOIL department. First thing I can tell you is it's not an appraisal. It is a printout of some kind. It's dated 5/15/2024. The valuation date The appraisal should have been done before the valuation date, which is July 1st, 2023. That's the valuation date. This document was dated last week. It lists 5 comps. One of them is dated 10 months after the valuation date. Wow, indeed. There's no signature on this. There's no word appraisal on this form. It says real property system, comparable sales, usable sales report that was printed last week. And all of these appraisals are much lower than what was on the original estimate that was sent out in the letter that was sent out in December. So what I have here is evidence of malfeasance, and I think that the next meeting that we have, the next hearing that we have on this, the city attorney needs to be here. Because, I mean, we have documented proof now. So any attorney worth his or her salt will grab this and run with the ball, and unfortunately, it really does not look good for the city of Rochester. Thank you. Your name, please? I'm sorry, did I ever say your name? No.
I don't think you did.
I apologize. Alexander Phoenix, homeowner, city of Rochester. Thank you.
Let's start on the second row now, second row or third row. Yep.
My name is Linda Smith. Winston Churchill said, "All the greatest things are simple, and many can be expressed in a single word: freedom, justice, honor, duty, mercy, and hope." To the city council person, you are giving us hope, because without you, we would never. Americans' economic perceptions is at its lowest 6-month low. Now the citizens, we are persistent in our request for relief. Although it appears that several of this council are amenable to our nonchalant, we want what you already enjoy, which is equal fairness. The middle and lower economic stratum feel the inflation financial echelon. We are not asking for non-taxation. All we want is what our the people we have placed in positions to represent us, which we thank you for this. So my experience with the assessors, when I came in, I don't think anyone themselves to me. They sat me down, threw up my picture on the wall, my house picture, and started to explain to me what it looks like the house had on it. Siding, this, that, and the other. And so I gave him and both of him comp of what I thought were comparables, because it was done by the brother. Went on to say, well, we have this comp, which was just sold in 2023. The house they talked about was around the corner, was for almost twice as much as my house. And my house is a family house. So I'm reaping my parents' effort. So, and I said to them, I said, well, the house right next door to me was assessed at 4 years ago. It was just sold. And the person said, well, we don't see that. It's not on our paper. So it was obvious to me, they had already decided. I went to see them, I think it was February, in February, as of today. I have no idea whether or not the assessment stands, if it was reduced. I have no kind of communication with. So, as I said, thank you to the council who are working with us. Somebody needs to put fire under these people. Thank you for doing. But if you can put some buckshots, that would help too. Thank you.
name is Clay Harris, and I am so frustrated with the city of Rochester. And particularly, I'm frustrated with Mayor Malik Evans and 5 city council people that have sided with him and his administration and not listened to the people. I'm very disappointed that the mayor and the 5 have declined our request via the city council and via citizens that they will not be here tonight or they will not be here on the board. That's problematic because we voted them in. This process is one of the most significant and overreaching processes that have ever occurred in the city of Rochester. It has the potential to bankrupt people, to cause foreclosures, to cause renters to be kicked out of their homes. And they do not want to listen to the citizens. They are so arrogant and aloof that they think they can ride on the horse, dictate to us, and we don't need to be heard. Now, I have a problem with that. Do you guys have a problem with that? Should the mayor have been here? Should the 5 city council members been here? We officially are requesting that they come here on the 4th of June. Do we want them? There is an election coming up, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. I think people will remember this. And if they want to be re-elected, they better show up. And I am also 7 city, I would like this budget that's going to be voted on, because this assessment is within the budget. I would like the city council people, all 9 of them, to have the nerve and the respect and the love and the consideration of the people to vote the budget down. Because it's about the people. They have been disrespected, they have been marginalized, and they have not been listened to. We need the people who pay their salary. Secondly, real estate agents, real estate brokers, agencies, they have lost a national lawsuit for $1 billion this year. What they are doing now has never been done before, but it is creating this frenzy and this untenable, affordable housing in the marketplace. Highest and best offer, delayed showing. That's never been done before until recently. They're doing it, to me, out of greed. They're not doing it for homeowners, because homeowners, you get $5,000 over your asking price, you're doing good. You get $10,000 over your asking price, you really. They have rigged the system where they are making buyers compete against each other 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 at a time. So now they're bidding 50, 100, and 200. Is that normal? No. Is that market value? No. Those are the prices that the city of Rochester are using as comparables to justify these appraised values. You know what? I say it's illegal. And they must give account for it. Mayor Malik Evans, if you truly are for the people, and you want to create generational wealth, do not do it to try to make up for 40, 50, 60 years of black people or brown people or poor being downtrodden in their houses are not being increased. Do it normal appreciation, 2 to 5% per year. Don't implement these prices that are not market value. They are going to collapse the real estate market in Rochester. Thank you.
Going to, there are some of you who have came in a little bit after the others. We're gonna ask if you would just allow the other ones who've come in before and who've been waiting. We're going to section 4 now, section 4. 1, 2, 3, the 4th section, starting from my right. Yes, sir. And remember to state your name.
My name is Scott Locker. Yeah, that was such a wonderful speech, Clay. Amazing! Amazing! All right, is this the same board that approved the $1 billion budget for the RCSD? If you guys fund the RCSD, well, we could start by cutting that. We could start by cutting the RCSD and a few being overpaid over there if people want to do that. What are you all doing to stop to help these people? And how come the other city councilors that are being paid aren't here as well per Clay Harris's request? And how come the mayor felt that he didn't have to be here tonight? This is an outrage. This is absolutely outrageous. And people say that there's all sorts of reasons why the city of Rochester is the way that it is. We're still a young city, 200 years. We got a lot of reform to do, but people are waking up because look at all the people here tonight. People are finally starting to wake up and the tides are turning and we're going to stop this reassessment. All right, stop cooperating with City Hall. We don't love the government. We're not benefiting from the government. We got to find a way to stop cooperating, to cut some departments. What else? What else? How do we do this? The people have the answers to this. All right, I'm going to cut it short. Thank you.
Hold on, Alex, before you, did someone leave their water? Is that someone's water bottle? So, Clay, is that, yeah, just, thank you, thank you.
The thing that I want to start with is the mayor had said that he's gonna lower the assessment. But does he think we are stupid? We know when we look at the tax bill, what is more money? And we're gonna be paying more money as a result of this assessment. And why is this happening? Well, it's happening because people outside our community who are not going to live here are buying up these houses. It's been recognized nationally. Congress has a bill that they proposed to end hedge funds owning single-family homes, but it's not going to come soon enough. To read what 11% of the single-family houses that were sold went to an owner-occupant. 11%. 89% were bought by hedge funds, but some large percentage probably was of that 89%. And studies have shown that if a hedge fund buys a minimum of 5 houses in a single neighborhood, the crime goes up 5.2%, rent goes up 5.5%, evictions go up 4.4%. This is not what we want for our neighborhoods. Rochester is And this sort of reassessment, this sort of reassessment actually hurts the people of our community. And if we really want to help people, we need to find ways to stop these hedge funds from buying into our neighborhoods. And if we don't do the reassessment, the property values went up because they bought the properties at a high price. Because they run a program, it tells them Rochester properties are low value with a high rent rate, so we can get a 15 to 20% profit out of these properties, even if we buy at these higher rates, so they do. But they count on their tax rate going down, because they're a property that isn't getting reassessed up because they're already at the top. So what's happening is their taxes are decreasing. You're rewarding the very people who are increasing crime, increasing rent, increasing evictions, decreasing home ownership. That's a perfect system we're using. We should stop the assessment. And I don't really have time to go into the studies from Pennsylvania that show how bad reassessment. We should just stop. After all, this thing we do where we tax unrealized gains. Houses are people's investment, whether it's for rental. You know, the people who've spoken here, they bought 1 or 2 houses, they're doing that for investment in retirement. This is how you get a house in America. If you're just a homeowner, this is also like 80% of Americans' retirement money comes from their house. Doing hurt these people's retirement plans as well. And then nothing else they invested would they have paid on the unrealized gains. If the stock goes up, you don't pay taxes on the increase, you only pay taxes when you sell. And if you switch to that model, you will increase home ownership, rent will stay stable or go down, as studies in Pennsylvania have shown. And we won't have the increased crime, increased rental, increased eviction. I would hope everyone in city government supports those goals. Please, even those not here, need to know how important it would be to not do this assessment. Thank you.
It's on. You just got to speak up.
When I bought the property, all over high, you guys well split down. So last 10 years or 6 years, I've been getting a lot of phone calls, text messages. Taxes, property, building property. Messages to the effect that we want your property. When you get called, I'm saying to myself, this got to be conspiracy, or it's got to be just it's going to happen, not just so they will know. And I understand. I understand the taxes go. Okay, that's the problem. You will check the software and the taxes may go up, but the services go down. We stay where we are. What do you want? They have more safe stuff than I have. That's happened in the city. You don't see any patrol. If all here was going on, maybe they police you to consult. If a lot of was going on, it may be day two or more before we see the result. Saying taxes going up, but with no service, no better service, you know, and then to raise, inflate the price for houses. If the house on 73 Way sold for $25,000. There's no money, put a little money into it. This is for $138,000. So the people went on. So it went up to $148,000. 73. Not Colonial 73, but between four. The services are turned. 73 sold for $40,000. That's what we are. It is over $150,000. And so. Anyway. I'm not making any money. But I'm having to pay money, and then the assessor had to live to say their cost of. I think we should have a group, as a citizens, I think we should vote around. Shouldn't pass until.
Yes. We'll see the lady here, and then we'll come back to the, yeah, we'll come back to the lady here, and then we'll continue. Thank you.
No, I'm not. My name is Catherine Smith. I'm not as prepared as some other people are to speak, but I want to also echo some of the phrases that other people said. Yes, you're going to turn a house is listed for is worth 80,000 and they list it for 70,000, then it sells for 150,000 or 40,000. Is it worth 150? It's not. And my issue is, okay, when I go to sell, let's say the person goes to and they pay taxes for 150,000 for 5 years. Are they getting that back? They're not. And that's the problem I'm having. I live in the 19th ward. House to my child. But at the rate I'm going, I'm gonna be kicked out before then. I'm almost 60. I don't want to work till I'm 80 trying to pay for my house. We want our young people to be able to afford houses as well. Something someone else said, you're right, people are coming in. I was getting those same text messages. I started calling, I want to report, you know, not calling you. You're getting postcards and all these text messages, you want to sell. If I want to sell, I list my house. But I still think that too many people, when I make a complaint against the house where I've got a ticket because my grass was an inch higher than it should around my tree when the rest of the grass is already cut. I got a citation for my grass being high. Across the street had evicted someone, they had a flood, that's what it was, and all the stuff got up there for 3 whole weeks, they could find. And they said, well, they don't live here, exactly. When I moved in the 19th ward, everyone on that block were homeowners. Aged out, and people have bought the houses, now they're renters, because people from out of state are owning these homes, they're not taking accountable as well. And there needs to be some law, they can only buy so many houses, because that's what's happening as well. They're buying houses up and they, like the lady said, oh, you can look at the house next door, but you're talking about the house around the corner. You go find the 5 top houses in the 14619 zip code, compare my house. There should be a formula. Everyone's assessment is going to be based on 15%, and that's it. can't do 80% for 19th ward and do 20% for 14621. It should be the same formula. And the person doing the assessment shouldn't even be working for the city of Rochester. I think- Otherwise, something you're gonna benefit, but someone from the city should be should. So that doesn't have a benefit from assessing my house. And it should be a certified document stating, hey, it has lead, it has, correct plumbing, a new roof, a foundation. All of that should be noted in the report to go back to that person, so I know what I'm being assessed, because my almost $100. I'm saying, what am I gonna be able to do in another 5 years if we're gonna do this every year? Some kind of formula, say, hey, we're gonna do that for 5 years, it's gonna be at this formula for all the city of Rochester, and that's it. Have a good day.
I live on Jefferson Avenue, and they assessed it last year, my house was assessed at 52,000. This year, 132. Wow. Called out town and I told them, no way. They told me, well, that's the market. I said, what does the market value have to do with the appraisal thing? So I'm not gonna get that for that house. There's been no work done on it, and it needs work, but the city won't help you with that. Okay? And furthermore, the house was left from my mother. And I'm trying to hold on to the money. And pass it down. You talk about generational wealth. No, y'all not about those generational wealth. And I'm not talking about you here. All the ones here. And I appreciate it. I'm just saying, I've been sitting here 11 last week, week before last, my grass too high. I told whoever told you that, they told a lie. But I don't cut my grass this month twice. So he must have got on the camera and said, oh yeah, you're right. Well, don't send me no letter. And this here, now something is really wrong in this city. And I know one thing, these developers, they don't spend money on the land. They're not spending the money on the buildings they build. Okay? Whether it's a home, whether it's a private building, they're not paying it. They got land taxes on it. So what they paying, 6 cents? On the maybe $6,000 land? Something is wrong. And people, because y'all, they don't listen to y'all. You know that. People come up here about rent control, they come up about RG&E, they owning plug utility. What have they got? What have they got? They got nothing. They do not hear us, but they don't hear us. I'm 70 years old, I'm tired. I did born and raised in Rochester. And I can't forget, but I can write a book though. I can write a book. Everything pending. Just like, oh, see, I'm pending. It's pending. No, this has got to stop because we are people. We have lives. We're so busy coming in here fighting for basic needs, things that we should have. And we can't hardly live our lives. We got families, we got lives, people got jobs, and always here fighting for what's right. We shouldn't have to do that. That's wrong. It's wrong. And developers getting all this money, nonprofit, church, ain't nobody paying no taxes, but the homeowner. And that's not right. Then you got these little nonprofits tucked into the neighborhood, churches. And where that tax base gonna fall on people like me. That's where it's gonna fall on. And when these churches, they churches, and then what they do? Oh well, the neighborhood is better. Okay, let's pass that over to the homeowner who can't afford it, who cannot afford it.
Going to the fifth row, we're gonna start from, go ahead, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, that's fine. We'll shift it now, we'll go left to right, my left to your right, all right, going to the back, thank you.
Karen Cole Jameson. I live in Point Hill, I'm in a historical area. And my father bought that house in 1960, he paid $13,000. Now they want to assess it at 4,400 something. Don't know. He passed it down to me when he passed away. I'm looking at the senior citizens. How many senior citizens do you see here besides the ones that's here? Nobody reaches out to senior citizens. I'll send us a letter, tell us that our assessment is going up. You see, they're not calling for the appointments. So when anybody say, well, we know we sent out so many letters, let us check. Let us go back and check. But there's a lot of senior citizens that don't know how to get here, don't know what's going on, no idea about internet, because I don't know nothing about internet. I go on and I tell them houses compared to me, they give me houses on the next street that was built after my house. They tell me those are the ones that value to my house, but they're not to my house because they were newly built. Our house is built. Tell us we're gonna give you the grants, and then you go get grants, and there's no grant for the senior citizen. But the mayor gonna give $500, but he give the $500 to working people instead of to the senior citizen. You put in, he's gonna only do all these applications, but he's only gonna give out $500 to buy so many people. So why have senior citizens put in on paperwork? They're not doing nothing. An assessment, everything is going up. You get shortages, the gas and electric, everybody is coming at you. And like they said, people are coming into the city, buying the houses, they don't live in the city. When you gotta call a landlord, he waits somewhere. You don't even live here. So he don't care what it looks like. But to me, it's like, want to assess your property so that they can come back and say, oh, you know what, your roof needs to be fixed. Or you know what, this needs to be fixed. So I'm gonna give you time to do this, I'm gonna give you time to do that. So they can put you out. Because they know you can't fix it. All these other people, and they start tearing your houses down. Now you're seeing all these buildings, these apartment buildings that's going up where it was all home. Now you got all these apartments, for 9 apartments, and all these other apartments in there where it was just basically homeowner house. And it's just, to me, it's just a quick money scheme. Because they all, but they can give you $10,000 for this, they're giving $10,000 for that, they're giving $20,000 for that. But what about the money to help you stay in the house? And like I said, you get people calling, I get texts all the time. We want to buy your house. My house is not for sale. My father had a house in the family. So we're trying, the senior citizens are trying. There's a lot of senior citizens that don't even know nothing about this meeting. They don't understand what's going on, and there's no one that understands what's going on. And vote for these people every time voting come up. But I know one thing, the ones that ain't helping won't get a vote from Sharon. I refuse to keep, you're not helping the people. But you say you're for the people. But you're not. But there's all this embezzlement going around, but where's the money for us? Help us then. My father worked hard for the house that been for him. Keep it in the family. So now I'm being taxed. But I'm trying to do what's right. And I say, help the senior citizens. The budget. Down with the budget. Down with the budget. Down with the budget.
Fourth row, we're going from your right, my left. Yes, ma'am. Come on. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. You're kind of tall, so can you kind of pull it up to yourself? Yes. Thank you so much.
People are worth more than houses. We're getting this money from. Okay, these little children, they can't go to grandma and grandpa's house to get the stories read because grandma and grandpa are living in the street. That's what all of these high-rise buildings that Mr. Zazara put on a corner of Good and 490. So he can cram a bunch of people together like they're living in an egg garden. And right, exactly. And we got I don't want people. It is good. But when I went to my hearing, I live in Slogan, that's a little bit. I saw Michael Cesar's name on the ballot. I don't know for him. Oh. Okay. No, listen. My house is a messed up roof with a block at 6 feet. Somehow, you're pulling down. Because my house isn't worth anything if I'm not living in it. You want to see some abandoned houses? Oh, that's true. I'm going to right now because I can support my desire. Going down with the money is going up. All right, hold up. If I'm stupid, it's just I hold that right. Look like something else. You see that damn guy? You know that exploitation. When there's a lack of respect for the ecosystem of people that live in the city. The contractors come over when we need repairs done. They do whatever they want. If we end up in the house, but the roof is still leaking, plumbing still doesn't work. Wow. And there's no accountability because the city that keeps our this. Okay. What? 15 years. Now listen. I live in a mixed-use building next door to a Chinese restaurant. And my next-door neighbor thinks he's the Donald Trump of Slover. He bought everything, 6 square blocks. He owns all the buildings. Let me tell you something. That is poor city planning. I can't. Or if you're going to call him and keep people from doing unfair business. I don't have been down 6 blocks. I took pictures of all the off-street parking lots which are privately owned, cracks, cold, water. Excuse the building, and because it's not. I'm not cutting. Because I can't run a business with the guy from Silver living next door to me. Like, I took pictures of every. Something as long as I can. You. For the deco in the city assessment's office. Okay, you can't break. Our income will go over before years. Now.
Excuse me, ma'am, your time is up, and I need your name for the record, please.
Oh, my name is Andrea Olivier.
Thank you.
I live in Silver. Thanks.
Gentleman with the hat in the mask, we're starting with you, sir. Oh, the lady next to you?
She wanted me to, did someone, like allocate time?
No,
To say something.
no, everyone gets one opportunity to speak. Next person over? Yes, your opportunity.
Good evening, my name is Nate Boldo, I live in the city of Rochester, I own a home as well. And I'll keep this short, first off, I just want to say I always support the vacancy study. I'm also here to support the efforts to address the incredibly high reassessments. My own home has been significantly reassessed. But I also wanted to mention that, at the same time, as someone had mentioned earlier, major property developers pay an incredibly low rate of taxes. Often underassessed properties to build gaudy, overpriced, so-called luxury apartments that ultimately, in my opinion, facilitate wealth to a privileged few. And all the while, we're losing millions of dollars in tax dollars that can be used to provide affordable housing, access to nutrition, and other community-based services. So, I think it's really time that we address the discrepancies in tax burdens here in Rochester and make sure that people aren't kicked out of their home, that housing is actually a human right. So I would urge this body to until this is addressed, to vote the budget down. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're gonna continue on that road, move to the next. Yes, ma'am, I think you're next. Am I missing someone? No, they said they didn't want to speak. Okay, are we still on that roll? Yeah, you're next, ma'am. Yeah, you're next. No, I understand that. We're gonna get to that row next. That's the next row. We're going by row. I understand that he may have been here first. We're gonna get to him. I'm sorry. All right, we're just gonna go by row. Thank you.
Well, I don't know how, and I.
Could you state your name first, please?
But I just wanna say that my landlord raised my rent from $825 to $1,550. Wow. Now, yeah, she lives in New York City, and she said that why should she pay the water bill, cause she ain't the one using it. So now I have to pay the water bill, that was her. Yeah, the grass ain't getting cut no more by the people that work for her here. I have to be responsible for that, and that's just not right. So I just want to make, you know, that announcement. And I want to say one thing else. My son has been missing 2022. I protested in front of City Hall and asked Mayor Evans to come out. Now, one on his voicemail, not once have he returned a call. You know, and my son is still missing. He's behind a 5-year-old son. My grandson was 2 years old when Tommy went missing, and today is Tommy's birthday. He would have been 29 today. So, in prayer.
We will do that. And we acknowledge that. We acknowledge it. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. To the next row, please. Thank you. Everyone who wants will get an opportunity to speak. Okay, ma'am, you come on up. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Alicia Okoye. Thank you all for your time tonight. Obviously, I'm here, I represent the collective, but I also represent myself as a natural person. I'm not really knowledgeable on the laws. I only can give what I see happening when I look upon it. To me, I try to understand what the difference is between a homeowner and a tenant. The lines blur for me because right now it seems like whoever these people are that are responsible for this tax assessment is overriding me and saying you have to pay more. Just like a landlord, like the lady just said, her rent went from $825 to $1,600, and she has no say in it. I have very, very little faith in the city of Rochester, that you'll be able to do anything. I feel like this is being forced upon us. Again, I'm a first-time homeowner. I've been in my home for 3 years. The house was selling for $90,000. I purchased it for $100,000. I've been there 3 years. They want to reassess it for $130,000. I didn't do anything to the home until this month. I didn't do anything to the home, so I'm just not understanding the process on how we can jump so high in 3 years. I would definitely vote down this bill. Not only that, but we're all here temporarily. You know, we all have an expiration date, you know, and here in America, you can buy it, but you don't buy the land. So even if I paid my mortgage, if I fell behind on my taxes, they will. So knowing that, instead of me as an older person who tries to migrate to Florida, I'm going to leave this country. And my forever home will be, you know, a continent where I will own the land, and that land will be passed on to my children, because I have no system right now, and I feel like we're headed down a financial storm. And this is only the beginning, especially when you're in the city of Rochester and it's really, really poor, that we're facing these tax assessments. All I have right now is rent in my pocket. So I don't know what they want. Do they want the rent out of my pocket too? And I want to sell my house. I don't want to have to be forced to sell my house because I can't no longer pay for it if the assessment stands. What will happen? I feel like people will start coming together. The houses will be overcrowded. We might have issues with the fire department because there's too many people living in one house because they're trying to all put in to pay the mortgage, you know, to keep the house. I don't see the longevity. I don't see longevity. I don't see me giving my son who was here, he's 10 years old. I felt it's important for him to come here and see that all you have is your voice. And that when you feel very passionate, strongly about something, you use your voice. So that's what I'm here to teach him. But I have no faith in the system, and I think that we're wasting our time now, unfortunately. Thank you. Okay, housing rehabilitation program currently closed. So the money that you guys are going to use doesn't come back to us. Where is it going? Because the programs for homeowners are not available. They're not available.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Starr, pull the mic down just a tiny bit. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Agree with most everything that was said, but I also have my own opinion as far as, well, one of the ladies spoke about seniors. I agree with that, because seniors that's in the house as far as home, whatever, if you're behind in your taxes, you can't even get the grants that the city said that they're offering. You cannot get it. And as far as when one of the other ladies spoke and said that the landlord raised her rent up from 800 to 1,600. A lot of times, and I'm a landlord as well, and a lot of times I look through personal things as far as tenant, they destroy your house so bad, and that makes the landlord feel that they have to go up on their rent to a certain amount to be able to pay for their different expenses and whatever they need to be able to even maintain a living standard. And also, I see all these houses that build up around the city. It's like 14621 Clifford Avenue, on one part of Clifford Avenue going toward like between Clifford and Portland. It's like they want to keep that as a crime neighborhood. They want to keep it downgraded. And the other part of Clifford Avenue, as far as going up there to Joga, is being revitalized. You know, and look, you know, like one of the other persons said, they're building up these high rises and putting everybody in a sardine can, you know, together. And it also, people that wants to be an investor, I'm one of the landlords that wanted to make a difference, and I made a difference in the city. The houses that I had, I tried my best to keep violations off of it so the tenants can have a good place to live. I did that. Me and my partner did that. But the tenants, because they are not accountable for keeping their property, keeping up the landlord's house, what they do is say, they'll tear up different things, they keep tearing it up and say, well, the landlord didn't fix nothing. And they try to say your house was inhabitable. That way they don't have to pay the landlord. They can continue to stay in your house for free. And that was also bringing the city of Rochester down with all these abandoned houses in the city. They have investors coming in from the other states, buying up all these properties. And that's one of the reasons why this rent is going up so high. These investors are coming from other states, buying up these properties because the tenants here in the city of Rochester saying, oh, the landlord won't fix it. It's rodent infested, it's this, that, and the other, because they don't want to pay rent. When COVID came up, that's when they came up with this thing to outsmart the system and beat the landlord out of their money. And now the landlord can't hold their house because they tore it up and destroyed it. And now the landlord, that one that tried to make a difference, they can't even hold their property because now they're so far in debt. And this is my personal feeling about this, because I'm still struggling, because I enjoy helping the community. I enjoy doing what I want, what I have to do today, social service and stuff like that. I don't want to be the one that's sitting back and just waiting for a welfare check. I'm trying to make a difference in this city of Rochester. And I feel the city, the people, I'm glad you guys are here to hear what we have to say. I started not to speak, but I'm glad that I did, because I needed to open up about this. We have to go to court to get these tenants out of our property. We can't afford lawyers and stuff like that to get these tenants out of our house. And that's why the landlords go up on the rent to try to save what they have to be able to hold their property. Because the tenant keeps saying, this house is uninhabitable, you got rats, rodents and all that. They bring them there because some of them, the tenants are trashy and they destroy the property. They bring rodents and rats and stuff like that because they don't keep their property up. They don't keep their property up because it's not their property. And that's what's going on in the city of Rochester. And I feel again, 14621, it needs to be something done about Portland Avenue, Clifford Avenue, all up in that area going down that part of Clifford Avenue. It's like you guys forgotten all about that, you know, and something needs to be done. Just like Clifford, you got the bus stop. Women come there with their babies and stuff like that. You don't even have the shed for the women with their babies and kids. They'll be, you know, out of the rain and stuff like that, the element. And I just feel like not just the 19th ward and stuff like that. Come back over in the city over here with Portland Avenue, Clifford Avenue, 14621, over in that area. Because I am a landlord that made a difference and try my best to continue to make a difference. And I feel that the city council should be able to help us landlords that's trying to make a difference. That's what I feel. And make these tenants accountable. If they take this money out of those tenants, welfare money, whatever, for whatever they damage in the landlord's house, they'll stop some of this. And thank you for that.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would? Is there anyone present who has not spoken who would like to speak? Come forward, please. I'm asking you in the back, those who have not spoken, who want to speak, why don't you come on to the front, because you'll be next. Yes, sir, the guy with the hand up, come on to this and sit. You're next up. Is there anyone else who have not spoken, who would like to speak? I'm asking you to make your way to the front, please, so you can be acknowledged after this speaker. State your name, please, ma'am. Thank you.
My name is Angela Wallace. I'm here because I have a issue with this, big issue, because it seems like we're dealing with like a Rocky Good situation in reverse. Okay, whereas everybody's getting rich off the poor. Okay, and people can't afford to even financially breathe. Okay, it's serious out here. Okay, you have, I believe, people with disabilities. Okay, you got the working class, if they suffer, what about the people with disabilities in the cities? Okay. They're under a protected class, but the city's not protecting them, okay? And this is not fair, okay? They have properties that they had that was passed down in different things. Come on, this is not fair. It's not even fair to those that's working and trying to build something. And it's just not fair to watch people, the poor people, the rich people are getting over on the backs of the poor here. And that's what's going on right now. And it's not fair to nobody, okay? You can't afford to rent. I mean, with all the high cost of everything just to live, you can't even afford to buy food. You can't afford RG&E, you can't afford anything. And I'm like, this also raises the crime. That's why so much crime is. I'm like, up with this crime up in here because they turn it up because they don't respect me, they don't respect y'all, they don't respect none of us. Why? Because ain't none of y'all looking out for. Y'all not even looking out for us. I go down with the budget, y'all.
Hello, my name is Philip Stukas. I moved to the Southwest from living with my parents in Penfield, Pennsylvania. And I got excited about the beautiful houses on Hamilton Street, right where the mayor lived. And so I called an architect that was a friend of mine, fix up a house on 86 Hamilton Street. And it was so beautiful after we got done. It was a vacant house. I helped him go to the auction. I helped him encourage him to buy a house. He got like $20,000 in grants to fix it up. There was a big hole in it for 10 years. before I got to do a wood shingle roof on top of that roof all by myself. And then after fixing it up, it was so beautiful, I moved in there. And I met Bob, down the street. I brought cans down there for his education program, I worked on the South Wedge newspaper. I got hired by Judy Lee Hay to run the South Wedge Tool Library for 16 years. I fixed up houses for old people in the Wedge. What did I get paid? I averaged about $5 or $6 an hour my whole life. I worked at a piano factory. They started me at 4. I worked for and I volunteered thousands of hours. I volunteered for Calvary St. Andrews, food cover, thousands of hours. I just retired from that job. 40 years I worked for Calvary St. Andrews. So I bought a house right around the corner so that my fiance and my son and I could move in there from 86 Hamilton to 7th Street. But the house was a wreck, I paid 34. I bought it in 84 for 34,000. And I probably put about $100,000 worth of my labor into it. I heat gunned all the lead paint off the side, but I took too long to do it, so the city fined me thousands of dollars in fines because I went too slow because I was doing it part-time while I'm trying to do all these other jobs. There's a handyman, at $5, $6 an hour, So I still have that now. But now the contractors, they only want to give me 30,000 for it, because it's still gutted, but the outside looks pretty. I put a whole new roof on it myself with friends, And the city raised my assessment from 30,000 to 110,000.
Wow.
Just because the house across the street sold for 90,000, it's been rehabbed several times with a garage and a backyard. I have no garage, no backyard. My house is still should be assessed at 30 or 40,000. So I got to finish it. But my grants for me anymore, I didn't take advantage of the grants at the time that I could have. Why? Because I was too busy working other jobs. So, here I am. I'm disabled, kind of disabled, a little bit disabled. So my income is like 13,000. How am I supposed to come up with money to fix up that house if you're going to raise my assessment to 110,000? I've lowered my assessment from 50, 60, back down to 30 several times. Why can't it just stay at 30? What the people that want to buy my house, they want to give me 30 for it. They don't want to give me 110. I should put a sign on the front of the house, 110,000 to see what people give me for it, But so what am I gonna do? I should sell it. I have so much sweat equity in that house, I don't want to sell it, I'm hoping my son might want to live there someday. He's like 30, I'm 60, I just turned 68, he's 38. So I don't want to have to sell this house just because I can't afford the kid. For computers, I don't have time to come here and deal with trying to lower the assessment, and have people look through my house. I don't like people coming looking through my house, So last time I had it reassessed, the lady that came to reassess it, because it needs so much work.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Robinson, and I live on Persian Drive. I initially did not want to speak after the day I had because I couldn't trust myself with the microphone. Oh, boy. So let me just start off by saying, Andrea, the word foreclosure and the experience that she went triggered for me. And I started to lose it because I also had a foreclosure experience. It was called when I was a receptionist at Boston North Nursing Home that the alarm was going off. The burglar alarm was going off. I asked someone to sit in my seat when I drove back to my house to find the foreclosure people were changing my locks on me. So I went through that whole process back and forth for a few years. I'm finally out of it, but there has to be a better way for the people that stay in their own neighborhood with their own house. And just going to these sessions and finding out more about what people are going through, I had no idea what it was, and I'm grateful to have the experience of this forum and allowing people to have their say. I mean, there's so many people that don't know that this even exists, opportunity even exists. Very disjointed communication system when it comes to this. Let me just start with my list. I'm not going to take too much time because I'm used to it. This is wow. A lot of time. I know. If I didn't know, I'm better prepared. So let me just start off by saying conflict of interest. This conflict of interest. And even though there's an office that's supposed to be really find out about them, and you think that that's where you're supposed to report these conflicts of interest, and that there'll be some resolution to the issue, you find out they have absolutely no power to address whatever the conflict of interest was. So that's that. I'd like to say I would pause for the reassessment, simply because too many people do not know what they need to know about the process. And me finding out about all this backdoor stuff is just, it was infuriating for me to find out the things that other people had gone through to try to get their justice in the system and how it was supposed to work. And then just finding out it's just disgusted, really. I'd like to say, it seems to me that the administration seems to have a very, office stuff, I'm thirsty, an adversarial relationship with its instead of what I like to see is that instead of farming out what the services should, and all the buck needs to stop here is what needs to happen. Instead of we're out there floundering on our home and we all get lost with no resolution to any of our real issues. The neighborhood service center offices do not do what the net offices did. Time to reassess what they do because it's just not working for them. And again, vote the budget down. There's just so many. Every time that I come to speak to council, there are people that are still saying the same things to the blue in the face. It's like they don't exist. Or they're coming for the purposes of they hope that the change can occur and it's falling on deaf ears. And it's difficult to sit and watch that to people that care about real issues impacting real residents in the city. So just summing it up, please pause the reassessment so we can get it back to where it should be, fair for everybody. And please vote the budget down because.
Vote the budget down. Vote the budget down.
They bring 5 people with you.
Is there anyone present
like to speak, who has not already spoken already, now is your opportunity. If not, we're going to move to the next session, which is basically, I want to thank every one of you. Give yourselves a round of applause. I want to thank each and every one of you here that we have public hearings outside of our normal process of legislation that is required that we have public hearings for. This issue is so important to the members of us here that we saw it would fit that we have not only one session, but two sessions to hear public comments. There are people in this room that I've never seen before. That those that are probably watching at home, some of my colleagues would be, oh, that's the same people saying the same stuff. There are people here that I've never seen before, and I commend you for coming out on a beautiful day to be here with us to share your concerns. I will tell you that your concerns are not falling on deaf ears. We are here to take your concerns back to the massive. And I want to let you know that there is another public hearing next Tuesday, same setting, and we will be here again next Tuesday at 6 p.m. We hope that the rest of our colleagues, the mayor, the lawyers, the administration, assessors, all of them will be here as well too. We want to let you know that we are not just saying, okay, the system's broken and we're just barking and complaining. We have had a live simulcast, thanks to Clay Harris putting that together last week with Channel 13. It's very rare and unheard of that I've seen a news channel live stream simulcast for 2 hours almost for such a thing. And that's because of this topic is so important. As a result of that, we had individuals who in the administration and or colleagues who have said that it was literally quote unquote said that it was actually that offensive that we would say that I would say, and I took that personal because I was saying it, that the process is flawed, that's offensive. It is offensive that we're raising people's taxes who are already distressed. It's financial violence on this community, and that's offensive. So we're calling for a fair assessment, and we have recommendations. We're going to every time that we're in public setting because we want them to be very public because we're very transparent. Everything we're doing is live on the City Council YouTube. Every meeting we've had has been streamed and it's been open to the public and has been live. And everything we're doing is transparent. We're not doing any backroom deals or anything of such. So we have 11 fair assessment recommendations, and they are as follows. They've been condensed. I thank Kelly for helping us with this. Ban inaccurate assessment methods like mass appraisal. Require city assessors, not contractors, to perform property appraisals using accurate methods. Require assessors to prove comparable sales used for assessments are fair and not the results of unusual market activity. Require at least 5 years of relevant real estate experience for Board of Assessment members. Members must be confirmed annually by the City Council, post staff, board members' credentials on the city website. Publish all assessment data on the city website, and we would say that that data needs to also be in print for those who are not website savvy. 90 days before it is final, including the New York State Real Property System reports and adjustment data for each individual parcel. Create and publish a reassessment timeline calendar online and in print for the public and hold reassessment public education annually. Put reassessment challenge forms online to be more accessible.
fast-track freedom of information requests for comparable sales reports during reevaluations. Live stream assessment hearings. Ensure public participation with consistent meeting locations and train staff on the open meetings law. The Assessment Bureau, if they do not comply with the above recommendations, include budget cuts and/or staff reductions. So those are our recommendations. We may have further recommendations after we have completed our public hearings, because we're hearing more gaps in the system as we listen to you and your experiences and your lived experiences with this reassessment process. And again, our goal and our intent here is to fix the process so that we generationally, we don't keep falling in the same pattern of financial abuse and violence on our citizens of Rochester. So that is our intent. We thank you. If my colleagues have any closing words, I thank again my colleagues for being here. I offer them an opportunity to speak.
Reiterate Councilmember Lightfoot's comments, and thank you all for coming. There were several people that I heard some kind of active concerns, and I know that my staff has written some things down, and we'll follow up with you. And you know, I hear that there's a lot of pain, not just what's going on with the reassessments, but also our entire community. And I thank you for coming here and trusting us with your voice.
I would echo all of the above, just another shout out and thank Lightfoot and to play parents. That your stories, your information is not falling on deaf ears. Someone mentioned here today that you are out here fighting for your lives. We see that, we feel that, and we are working as hard as we can in the background to bring justice to the city of Rochester.
All right. God bless. God bless you. This meeting is adjourned until next Tuesday. Once again, also remember the public hearings, the budget hearings are Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, 9 to 4, here in these chambers. They're open to the public. You're more than glad to log on to the council. You can't speak, I don't believe, at the public budget hearings, but you can view. God bless you. May God keep you is our prayer. Thank you.